What's going on, everybody? Alonzo here with GulfCoastSmoke.com, and today I want to show you how to make smoked pork tenderloin. So this is something that I haven't made in a while, but we used to make it every week for the longest time because it's super simple, it turns out super tender, and extremely flavorful. So if you think about the tenderloin on a cow, that's pretty much what you're getting here. It's so tender, so flavorful, and it's very, very simple to cook. We're gonna get it to 145 degrees, and it is going to be perfect. If you guys have never had pork tenderloin, it is extremely inexpensive. We got this at our local grocery store, and this costs us around $10, and I'll show you in just a second. It comes with 2 pork tenderloins. So these are the 2 pork tenderloins that we're working with today. And I told you it was around $10, and the package of this was around 2 pounds. So this one in the back looks a little bit larger than the one in the front. So I would assume you're probably looking at about 3/4 of a pound. And, you know, I'm not really too sure, but I obviously want to make sure that I'm watching this smaller one because it is going to cook a little bit faster once we get it outside today. Now, I do see some silver skin on these, but I'm not worried about it at all. It's not too much, and the thing about pork tenderloins is if you work on getting that silver skin out, you can take a chunk out, and there's really not that much meat. We just want to make sure that we preserve it and get a good bite. So that silver skin's not going to hurt anything, especially the way I'm going to show you guys that we cut it in the end. You're not even going to notice that silver skin. So the first thing that I want to do today is I want to get a good seasoning on these pork tenderloins. And for that, I'm going to use Mississippi grind. I'm just going to season all over. And I really like this seasoning a lot because it has some citrus notes in there. So if you guys have never tried this, you definitely want to. It's just an overall really, really good seasoning. So we like to use it a lot. And we're going to make sure to do the same exact thing to the back. And I've got a nice coat there. You can see that there's a lot of seasoning left on this board. So I am going to roll this around just to make sure I get every single side. And that is going to work out perfectly for me. So always keep that in mind. There is a lot of seasoning a lot of the time that's left over on the board, and you guys could utilize that, and you can make your rubs go a little bit longer. And we got these seasoned exactly the way we want to. We're going to let this rub sweat in for just a few minutes. You can see that beautiful red color. We want to maintain that throughout this whole cook, but let's head outside and I'm going to show you what we're going to cook on today. You guys guessed it, we're using the Weber kettle yet again. My favorite cooker. We just put out that video on it. If you guys are interested, I'll put a card up here so you guys can watch it. I really break down why I like this thing and a lot of the tools, some of which I'm going to use today, and what I think they're advantageous for and all that good stuff. So the first thing I want to do is I want to start with a chimney full of lump charcoal. From here, I'm actually going to pour half of that into my slow and sear. And the reason that I want to do this is because I want these coals right here to get nice and hot, and then I'm going to pour them over the unlit coals, and that's going to give me a little bit longer of a cook, not so hot, and I think it's going to be around 325, 300 degrees, which is fine for me on this cook. So now I'm going to start some of these B&B charcoal starters. And now we'll just wait 5 or so minutes until these coals are nice and hot, and we'll pour them over the unlit coals. So today we're talking about 2-zone cooking. And that just means that I have one zone that's hot and one zone that doesn't have any coals under it. We'll start the meat on the zone that has no coals under it. And if we want to, we can move it over those hot coals in the end to get a nice sear. And I'm looking for 130 degrees today. For 2 reasons. Number one, if I want to sear it, I want to make sure I don't cook them all the way. I want to finish the cook with the sear. And if we decide that we're going to sauce these, you want to give that sauce a little bit of time to tack up. So when you're cooking, you need to think about those things. Just make sure that you're not cooking these all the way to 145 degrees internal, then trying to sear them, or then trying to sauce them, because then you're going to have an overcooked pork tenderloin and you're not going to get all that deliciousness that we talked about before. And about 10 minutes later, this charcoal is ready to put right over top. Like I said, we want it to be hot. We don't want it to be too hot. So this is going to work out perfectly. And now we'll put our grate down. And this is where we're going to cook the tenderloin at. So again, I told you guys this is 2-zone cooking. We have a hot zone here, or you could call that direct. And then we have an indirect zone here. And this is where everything's going to be cooking. So we're going to make sure that this gets a nice smoke flavor. I didn't add any wood chunks or anything, but it's still, because this is lump charcoal, it's going to get a nice flavor on there. So while this is getting up to temp, let's show you our garden. Let's give you a quick update on that. And here's our week 2 update on our garden. You guys can see that the jalapenos are looking amazing. Right here is an average size jalapeno that I know is going to blossom and going to turn into something amazing. My friend and I were talking, we're curious how spicy these are going to be, but everything looks amazing. So if you see one of these flowers here that actually looks like it's dying, we noticed that the other day as well, and once it's actually completely wilted away, that's where the pepper comes out of. So we love to see these flowers bloom and then start to wilt away. Now moving on to our zucchini, you can see some flowers blooming and it is looking luscious, it's looking full, and it's looking really, really good. And our tomatoes, we put the tomato cages around them, and I just really am excited to see some tomatoes start growing. So we are very, very happy with the way things are going. On our habanero, I don't really see any change from last week. We are watering it, we are making sure it's getting sun, but we just haven't seen any changes yet. And then finally, our cilantro, it is not dead, so that is a major plus and win for us, because I told you guys last week, we somehow let it die within days that we planted it. So this is very good for us. We're very excited. If you guys have any tips or tricks, leave them in the comments down below. We're excited to see how this garden turns out. So we're really excited about that garden. We can't wait to see and use some of that stuff here, hopefully within a couple of weeks, months, whatever it takes. But now we're gonna put these pork tenderloins on. You want to make sure they're straight. They are going to cook exactly how you put them on this grill. And this cook shouldn't take long at all. I would assume around 45 minutes or so. And in around 15 minutes, we're going to come and we're going to flip these pork tenderloins over just to make sure we get a nice even cook all the way around. So we did decide that we are going to glaze these in the end just to add a little bit of flavor there. And we are shooting again for that 130-degree internal temperature, because I want the glaze to be able to set. And then also we have to remember that these are going to carry over just a little bit. So we want to pull them around 140, 142 degrees internal to get that nice, beautiful bite here in just a little bit. And about 15 minutes later, we want to check these pork tenderloin to see what they're looking like. And we're going to flip them because, like I said, we want to get that even cook all the way around. They're looking really good. You can see a nice bark setting there. Let's go ahead and flip these. They feel really tender. Now we'll wait another 10 minutes to temp these out. Don't forget, we're looking for 130 degrees internal, and then we're gonna start saucing these. Today we're using Memphis original barbecue sauce. When we were in Tennessee the other day, well, a couple months back, or I guess about a month and a half now, I was talking with Mark from Swine Life, and he actually recommended this sauce. So we just want to try it out today and see what it tastes like. Now I'm just gonna sauce both of these. I don't want to go too heavy. Tell you what, that is a great color. That sauce looks really good. We haven't tried it, but I think it's gonna be really good. So now we're just instantly gonna flip it back over. And we'll sauce the other side. The smaller pork tenderloin is done. I'm gonna hit it with a little bit of that Swine Life Mississippi grind, just to put some more flavor right on top. We'll take this bad boy off, and we'll put it right here on our cutting board. We're gonna wait a few more minutes. This larger one's gonna take a few more minutes, but it's just about done. I'm gonna do the same thing here. I'm gonna put a little more seasoning on top, and then we'll slice it up and try everything. And 45 minutes later, we are completely done with this smoked pork tenderloin. I'll tell you what, it looks incredible. You guys saw some footage of us slicing that up, and then I tried to get a real close-up shot of how delicious it's looking. The juices were all over my hand, so I already know that this is going to be good. You know, one of the things my wife used to do back in the day is she would actually start it. We used to have a Rectech. She would start these pork tenderloins on the Rectech before I came home from work, and then we would finish them up after I got home, so we weren't eating so late. It's really not that late today. It's 8 o'clock and we're about to eat dinner. So if you guys are interested in doing something like that, throw them on your pellet grill beforehand and they'll be ready in perfect timing. So now let's take a bite. So tender, so incredibly tasty. That sauce, I instantly get sweet. It almost tastes like there's a little honey or molasses in there. And now on the back end, I'm getting a little bit of heat. It's not too much, but I'll tell you what, that is really, really good. Shout out to Mark from Swine Life Barbecue for giving me that suggestion at Malcolm Shop. This is a really, 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 really good barbecue sauce, and I really like that. So we're going to go inside now. We've been outside for a few hours. I watched the NBA lottery. I wanted the Spurs to get the #1 pick, and they got the #9 pick. So I'm a little sad. I got my Spurs shirt on under here for good luck, but it didn't work, but it's okay. I got to believe that we'll be back in championship contention within the next couple of years or something. I got to believe. As a fan, I got to believe. Anyway, we're going to go inside. We're going to hang out. As always, I really appreciate you guys tuning into this video. My name is Alonzo, and I'm just a guy that likes to barbecue. Thanks, and we'll see you on the next one. My dog's trying to get it too.